us what Odinala really means and how it differs from Omenala.
Face to face, now they read my eyes. We dey talk with the young things where they touch you.
Back to the roots. We are tracing back our roots as a people, as Africans, as Igbos. And today on FaceToface TV, we are back to bring it to you back to the roots. And with me is also a very distinguished young man, His Royal Majesty Princewill Oduh. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Hello, viewers.
Alright, sir, please, to those people who may not know you, I know you've been here the first time, for some people who may not really know you, can you please reintroduce yourself and tell us what you stand for when it comes to keeping African tradition alive?
Okay, like you rightly said, my name is Princewill Oduh. I hail from Isialango North. I am a writer and entrepreneur, and I believe that there can be a marriage between the African culture and the modern day Christianity that we practice. That is what I stand for the truth.
All right, yes. all right. Okay, don't forget the program is Back to the Roots, and we are trying to, just like he said, to strike a balance between, religious practices and our culture as a people. So can you please explain to us what Odinala really means and how it differs from Omenala?
Yes, in our last episode, I made mention that there is a distinction between Omenala and Odinala, and I know that a whole lot of people confuse the two.
Yeah.
Now, Odinala per se, these are things that they are actually nature's ordination. They are not introduced by human culture or by human tradition. They exist independent of our own inputs. So out of these things that exist, people cannot create customs and tradition out of that which exists. Okay. So the difference between Odinala and Omenala is that Odinala is nature ordained, while Omenala are things that we actually instigated.
Okay.
Some of them are derived from Odinala. Some of them are consistent with nature, Odinala. Some of them are also against nature.
Okay.
Yes.
Can Odinala be against nature?
I said some of the Omenala can be against Odinala.
But can Odinala?
No, Odinala can never be against nature.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Yes.
That's what I want to know. Okay, can you please, with certain examples of Odinala and examples of some Omenalas?
Okay, I would start, when you start talking about Omenala, you want to start at the peak, at the zenith, at the summit of what Odinala represents.
Yeah.
Now, Odinala is that which exists on earth.
Okay.
It is self-existent.
Okay. Odinala.
It is there.
Okay. Okay.
It is self-existent. It is introduced by nature itself or by God Himself. So the major Odinala that our fathers, our forefathers recognized, or what we call the existence of Allah as a breathing, living entity. We call her the mother goddess. In some claims, she's referred to as the logos of the earth. However you see her, whatever name she goes, it is the recognition of the fact that on this earth exists a goddess who is living, who is breathing. Now, in the last episode, I defined Allah as a goddess of morality and a goddess of fertility.
Yeah.
Let me start with that of morality. As a goddess of morality, there are certain things that is considered to be a taboo.
Yeah.
Things that should not happen upon the earth.
Yeah.
And if you read of the Bible in the book of Leviticus chapter 19:29, it says, "Do not give your daughters to prostitution, lest the earth be defiled by that." That means there are certain things that you do, it becomes an abomination. Yes, and the earth abhors you. So that prostitution is one of them. That because the earth is an entity of morality.
Yeah.
Secondly, too, she abhors the killing of innocent people upon her.
Okay.
And I will give you examples of this. From where I come from, there was a time when we were having rapid death of youth. So we went to the elders in my community and said, Biano, come here. What is really happening? Why are youths dying anyhow? So those of them who were aged, who were sincere, told us that there was a woman who sojourned among them in those days, whose son was accused of theft. And the woman tried to explain to my community that that son of hers was innocent. At the end of the day, that boy was killed in a market square. Our village square. And with a broken heart, the woman laid a curse on our village and said, any young man that comes up to the age of my son will die. And it started happening. So we as a people had to, we had to come to that point and did certain prayers and appeasements for that to stop. Why? Because an innocent soul was killed upon the earth, and that brought a curse. So shedding of innocent blood is also a taboo upon the land. Now, I also tell you another story. I have a cousin, she's still alive today, who fell in love with a young man. She wanted to marry this young man. Now, she went to the farm with her own mother. Her mother being somebody who knew our culture. After when she was in the farm, she dropped her farm bag by a stick. When she was done with farming, she took the bag and discovered that there was a millipede inside it, this big millipede. She wanted to kill it. The mother said, please do not kill that millipede. It could be a messenger of Allah. They went to their grandfather and he made inquiry from our local priest. The local priest told the mother that your daughter is about to get into a marriage with somebody she has blood relations with. She came back and met the guy and said, please, where are you from? During the process of inquiry, it was discovered that the young man's maternal home and my cousin's maternal home is just the same place. So you see that was Allah's way of trying to prevent such an abomination from happening on her. Now we talk about fertility. Our fathers in their time, they recognize that the earth is the nourisher of humanity, nourisher of even animals and birds on her. So consequent upon that, before they embark on planting season, the priest will come and make certain prayers, which included libations and sacrifices, to notify Allah that we, the community, are prepared to start farming. We are asking for your consent to start the farming process, and we also expect that during this farming process that you bless us and nourish us. Even during the harvest, this asking for permission and sacrifices is an Omenala. That is derived from an Odinala. Even before they eat what they harvest from the farm, there is an Omenala. They also want to notify the earth and also pour libation to tell her we are about to eat our produce. We also want to tell you, take. In some climb, they do it in the form of Iriji festivals. Do you understand? In some climb, they do it in the form of Iriji festival. These things are Omenala that are derived from Odinala.
This is deep. This is deep, friends. You know, this concept of Omenala and Omenala, and let me not call it like NDJK. This concept of Omenala and Odinala, we'll keep on digging it out because a whole lot needs to be done, just like what he has explained. Are you getting me? Just you know, and that is why when certain things are done, the things that the land, the Allah abhors, and the best way to, you know, come out of it is also to appease the land goddess, which is called Ekwa Allah. Are you getting me? Just like what you said, it is a taboo here that people who are blood related should get married. You understand? Especially if anything happens that a young man gets his sister pregnant, it is Erwala.
Yes.
And Agemeno Omenala Yanayaso Ijekwa Allah.
Yes.
So now I get it that most of our Omenalas are derived from Odinala. So are there some Omenalas that don't have a traceable root in Odinala?
Yes. Some of the Omenala are actually repugnant to nature.
Okay.
Every Odinala is consistent with the law of nature.
Okay.
There are some Omenala that are repugnant to nature. Okay, let me come. The existence of the negative and positive energy is an Odinala, and their fusion in marriage to bring about reproduction is an Odinala. We didn't instigate that. That is how nature made it. Now, in that marriage, which is an Odinala, there are certain Omenala that are repugnant to nature, that are not consistent with how God wanted things to be done. Let me give you, for instance, one Omenala that is consistent, and I will tell you one Omenala that is not consistent.
Okay.
It is God's way, it is nature's way of promoting morality, that He or God puts a hymen in the reproductive system of a woman.
Yeah.
Now, our people had this culture where they celebrate virginity. At the time you're married, everybody is interested in the first night.
Of course, yeah.
The first conjugal night.
Yeah.
And if it happened that the woman turns out to be a virgin,
yeah,
the family of the bride, they are seen as, people who should be applauded.
Yes.
So that celebration is consistent with what nature says. Now, there is something that is not consistent with what nature says. I believe that a marriage should be a conceptual between two adults.
Yeah.
Our fathers in those days used to, at some point, betroth a lady when she's 3, 4, 5 years old.
Okay.
And now she is duty bound to adhere to the dictates of her parents to marry that man, whether she loves that man or not. She has to follow through. And if she doesn't follow through that betrothal, which was done when she was a child, she'll be seen as disobedient. That is not consistent with nature.
And it's not an Omenala.
It is not an Odinala.
But it's not Odinala.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It is an Omenala.
Yes.
Which is not consistent. Imagine where you are forced to marry somebody you don't love because your father said,
yes,
oh, I'm Galia, or I will marry this person.
Yes.
So that is where you see some of these frictions come. Now, I also want to tell you something that is very, very important. When you talk about are there Odinala or are there Omenala that are not consistent with Odinala, I'll tell you about one important Odinala, which is the Odinala of birth and death. You didn't institute that. Birth was there before you came.
Yeah.
Death was also there. Now, how did our forefathers bury their dead? Immediately a man dies, our forefathers have said,
yeah,
what will we do so that the chick will go back to the mother hen? Who is the mother hen? Allah. Now, within 24 hours of a man's death, our fathers will carry the person and bury after he has been confirmed death.
Before now.
Yeah. If you refuse to do that, the nature will begin to protest. Well, how does the earth protest? After 24 hours, the dead person begins to blow. That is the first protest.
Yes.
Saying, please, I want to go back
please
to my
take me out of this.
If you refuse to adhere to that voice, after some time, it begins to ooze out offensive odor. That's
keep you uncomfortable.
Please send me where I belong. But what do we do today? We borrowed an alien culture which is not consistent with nature.
Yeah.
Now, what do we do? Immediately somebody dies today, you send the person to the morgue for mortification. Now, that is not consistent with nature. Why? Even the Bible that we read said that Christ, after he died, was sent to the grave immediately. Now, what are the consequences of mortification? Number one,
when Lazarus died, he was buried immediately. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, do you know that the Bible says that you should honor your father and your mother? And one of the ways that you, Steve, honors your father and your mother is by not seeing their nakedness.
Of course.
I can bet that in the last 20 days you have not seen your mother or your father's nakedness. You don't want to do that because you honor them.
Of course.
Now, imagine where that same mother that you love or that same father you love dies. And you send them to the morgue for mortification. And one rascal who is a mortician strips her naked, touches her, takes part of her organ, while doing all the or whatever they do there, and then exposes your mother's naked. There is nothing dignifying about it. Now, let me also tell you why I say it's not dignified and some of the ills that came with that foreign culture. I have heard rumors, that there are even people who practice occultism who go to the morgue and look for water used in betting these people to do occultic practices.
Even some parts.
Some parts too. I've had some parts.
You know, organs don't die immediately. Some organs.
They take
organs
for occultic practices. Exactly. That is the consequence of this mortification. Now, I also heard, this one is documented, there are also people who, due to spiritual practices, go to have sex with people who are in the morgue.
I've seen it in a movie.
Good. Now let me tell you something. In the year 2022, a man named David Fuller in UK was sentenced to life imprisonment for necrophilia. By necrophilia, I mean sexual attraction to corpses. He had sexual knowledge of 108 corpses. This was possible.
Yes, I think I heard about it.
This was possible because he was a technician in the morgue. So when the workers go, he'll go and have sex with them. 108 corpses. Now, if we didn't imbibe this culture of, putting people in the morgue, this wouldn't have been possible.
But I now ask, how did this thing come up? This is going to be a topic for another day.
Yes.
You see, because some of this, we are going to be talking about some of these Omenalas, one after the other. Because see, this has put us as a people into a very serious tight corner, to the extent that people will still sell Allah to bury, to send somebody back to Allah again. Are you getting me?
Yes.
Losing two things at the same time.
Yes.
You lose Allah, a plot of land, because you want to commit somebody to the mother earth. Are you getting me? So it now provokes me to ask, how did we arrive at this point? And I don't know, because after I'm going to make some researches, it's like even this embalmment and everything was not a culture. It wasn't meant to be used on human beings, dead bodies as the case may be. Because I know that in the laboratory these chemicals are used to preserve animals that are used for particles.
Okay.
Are you getting me? You see, these chemicals they are using for embalmment, they are the things they are used to preserve snakes, rabbits, name them.
Yes.
If you go to laboratories, you see them cleaning as if they are alive, because they are used to teach in the laboratories.
Yes.
Now, I agree with you that these things were borrowed out of the ordinances of Odinala and imposed on us, and we are living by it. You understand? And you cannot run away from it, because they have become Omenala.
Yes.
That are enforceable somehow, spiritually.
Yes.
If you refuse to do it, if your aged father, 80, 90 years, 100 years, dies and you just bury him, they will say that
what our fathers did was, immediately somebody dies, they will bury the person.
Yeah.
Then after certain days, they will perform a ceremony according to the man's status.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So I recommend that, except where the corpse is a subject of litigation, or where there is a controversy, we should do the best we can just to bury the person. Then later we can do the ceremony.
Oh, it's a very serious one. Okay, let us not divert so much, because we have a whole lot to talk about. How did colonialism and the coming of the white man's religion affect our Odinala and Omenala?
Okay, I said something today about reverence.
Yeah.
For me as a researcher, for me as a custodian of the Ngwa culture, I believe that there is a bane. The greatest bane of the white man's coming is the erosion of our sense of reverence.
Yeah.
It was Plato who said that parents should bequeath to their children not riches but the spirit of reverence. Today we do not have reverence for holy things. We do not have reverence for sacred things. We don't even have reverence for our elders. Because of the white man's culture, it has brought to us this sense of arrogance. Not having reverence for things our fathers held sacred. I'll give you an instance. Have you ever seen an elder about to pour libation?
Okay.
Now, if an elder is in a discussion with his fellow elders or with young men, immediately you bring a wine to him and a cola to pour libation, his mood changes, his tone changes, because he knows that his audience is about to change.
Yeah.
The first thing he does is to breathe in and out after he has taken the cola.
And clear his throat.
I'm coming. That is it. He now clears his throat and says, now the question is, why is he clearing his throat?
Yeah.
Is he clearing his throat because he has a stuffy throat?
No, never.
He's suffering from cough.
Yeah.
Now that clearing of a throat is a tripartite signal.
Yeah.
That signal connotes three things, which is lost to our generation, except those who are initiates. And to buttress the signal, I'm talking about what we have lost, the spirit of reverence. To buttress that point, I had this peculiar experience. Yahweh Elohim, the God of the Jews and the God of the Igbos, by extension, one day I was on my bed, sent a messenger of his to bring me to a higher dimension, and I had a very peculiar experience. I was brought to a court, a very wonderful court, like a throne, all right? And there on the throne was seated the Majesty, the El Elyon. And suddenly an announcement was made. I was not allowed to sit, I was allowed to stand close to the throne, but not close, but close enough to observe the proceedings. And then there was this great archangel that was coming in. Look at what he did. When he came to the throne, he bowed down, he knelt down, bowed his head, and he did not speak. And I was wondering, why is he not talking? He was there for several minutes. He did not say anything until the one who sat on the throne permitted him to speak. Then he now spoke. After speaking, he took some orders and left. Another one came and repeated the process. Then the third one came. The third one came and stood. He did not bow. He did not kneel. Neither did he bow his face to the ground. And he did not wait for permission before he spoke. He just spoke directly. And then the messenger that brought me to the throne said, that is Lucifer. If you want to overcome him, do not be like him. Our fathers had a spirit of reverence. When an elder, like today, before I go to the Equi Christian, you see today a pastor comes to the pulpit, he wants to pray, he puts his hand inside his pocket and says, let's talk to God. As if he's talking to his age-mate or classroom. No, we should have that spirit of reverence. When Christ prayed at Gethsemane, he knelt down and his face to the ground. When Elijah prayed at Carmel, he knelt down his face to the ground. We should have this spirit of reverence. That is what the foreign culture has lost. Now has made us lose. Now let me look up to the Equicri. I said it's a tripartite signal. When the elder says he's sending a signal, number one, he is telling the entity or the deity he wants to address that he has an intention to speak. That is the first signal. That equicry, that's what it connotes. He is telling the entity he wants to speak to that he has an intention of speaking. That is the first one. I want to speak. The second connotation of that signal is that I need your attention. I need your attention. I need you to pay attention to me, to what I'm about to say. And the last connotation of that equicry is that I am asking for permission to speak to you. That is why our elders will always do before they start speaking.
And that's why it is said, that
is it.
Okay?
That is it.
Okay.
So that spirit of reverence is what is lost.
There are more to what we are just saying like this. We are just all these are just intro to deeper revelations that we are going to be making on this podcast, on the program Back to the Roots. Back to the Roots with His Royal Majesty, the Princewill Oduh. Alright, finally, okay, let me just ask this. Many people see some Odinala as idol worship. So from the cultural and historical standpoint, how do you address this?
Yes, Odinala is not idol worship. Like I have stated, Odinala is what nature has ordained, what God has ordained, and they exist there. Last time I said God rules the world through a hierarchy of his own agents. They are not demons. We just need to recognize that these forces are there for our own protection. They are local, they may be national, they may be global. Okay. However, I also want to state that there are cultures or Omenala today that has deviated from Odinala and they go into idol worship. Let me give you instance. This Allah thing. Allah is a deity that is self-existent, ordained by nature. However, in some clan, there are people who will go say, come, let us go and kolala. And in the process of equala, there are certain practices that are done that are not even consistent with nature. Even those who do people these days use the equala as a way of siphoning money from people. And it's also a way of entangling yourself into demonology.
So can Allah be instigated against the innocent?
No, it is impossible for the Allah to be instigated. You can instigate other forces, other demonic forces against people, but you can never instigate Allah against the innocent.
So from what you just said, maybe someone innocently, probably something just happened and they are you getting me? And you still say that the negative effect will come. Are you getting me? So how do we balance, how do we resolve this?
Okay, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what's happening. and what was happening. You see, it is the prerogative of every deity to choose its priest.
Okay.
Even in the Bible, you see Yahweh Elohim. He is the one who chooses those who worship him as priest. It is not something you wake up one morning and say, I want to be the priest of God. In the same way, Allah chooses those who serve as priests under her. And these people are choosing before birth. You don't grow up one day and say, I want to be a priest of Allah. From birth, the signs will be there. That you are a priest. And this is will come to you naturally. And we have such originals today, despite the fact that many of them today are quacks and fakes. There are people who are naturally priests of Allah, who can hear the voice of Allah. Who, like I'll give you an example of what happened to my cousin. Okay, so today we have people who are not even messengers of Allah, who practice the act of this divination. And what is behind them are demons, evil spirits. They lure people into wickedness. That's why you see somebody can conjure spirits and they will harm somebody who is innocent.
Okay.
Allah will never do such thing.
Because it is happening. Seriously, and you know it as well.
Yes.
But I now agree with you, because you know the evil spirit is very much at work.
They are
very much at work. Maybe one day we are going to talk about the state of the dead. Are you getting me? Some people can really provoke the dead to act as if, you know, that is evil spirit at work. I want to believe.
Yes.
Until we get to that. So a whole lot is going to be said. Finally, I want to ask, you know, what's your message to the young Igbo people on reconnecting, you know, our Omenalas, reconnecting back to our roots? So what is your message to the young people?
my message to them is that let them not get this confused. We are not saying everything our forefathers did was okay. And we are also not saying everything that the white man brought is bad. There are certain aspects of the white man culture that is beneficial to us. Look at today, we are sitting here and we are talking to the whole world because of the white man's technology. Is that also? Are we going to jettison his technology because we want to go back? And we now have a time where we have the Osuke system where people are ostracized, female genital mutilation. Okay? And then we want to say you want to go back to that because the killing of twins, because our father, some part of our the Igbo land practice that, other clients too. We can't go back to that. So my message to them is, know the difference between Omenala and Odinala, and then look at the things you are practicing or you want to practice. Are they consistent with nature? Are they consistent with justice? Are they consistent with the show of love? If they don't pass these three tests, please, you can keep them aside for further experiments according to you.
Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. We are glad and blessed to have, you know, our big brother who has very, very uncommon knowledge about the things that have been confusing us as a people. You know, and what we are trying to do here is not to undermine anybody. It's not to undermine any culture. Rather, we are trying to strike a balance and bring to your notice what should be done and what not should be done. So keep your tabs on FaceToface TV as we come your way next time on other thought-provoking revelations back to the roots. Thank you so very much.
Face to face, now they read my eyes. We dey talk with the young, the things where they touch you.